Migrants to Europe is no coincidence. The recent, since summer 2015, strong increase of migrants to Europe is no accident. It has been planned and orchestrated by people from within the EU. Sky News recently reported on handbooks, Sky finds handbook for EU-bound migrants, distributed free of charge to migrants in Turkey. These handbooks contain all the information immigrants need when they come to Europe, including emergency phone numbers in case they get into trouble, both on land and at sea. The Sky article mentions two websites: Welcome to the EU and Watch the Med. We did research on the people behind the websites and we found the following. The person who registered the Welcome to the EU website, we used Hoy, is Bernd Kasparek, PhD in forensic oceanography, specialized on migration and border control, as you can see in this presentation, on the borders of human rights, refugees and the Fortress Europe. He also publishes with Sabine Hess, professor at the University of Göttingen. Here is a presentation of her multi-situated ethnography. These people are mostly found on communist and green websites, as in Germany, for example, interview with Bernd Kasparek. Migrants are often spotted with plastic bags of the green movement, like this Syrian refugee tripped up by a Hungarian camera woman. The bag has been in the possession of the refugee on arrival in Hungary. The most recent information indicates that the refugee was an active member of the radical al-Nusra Front, the Syrian branch of Al-Qaeda and linked to IS. The relation with the left is supported by this article. Left wants to legalize human trafficking. Bernd Kasparek is also related to other websites that are often enriched with terms such as anti-racist, etc. One of these websites is Bayerische Flüchtlingsrat, a council for refugees in Munich, Germany. Interesting is the fact that the building where the council is based has been cleared by Google Street View. The Watch the Med website is registered by a man named Lorenzo Pezzini. A presentation named Refugees and Fortress Europe shows that he is a big supporter of mass immigration. More information about him can, for example, be found on the website Delfina Foundation. Lorenzo is part of the research team Forensic Oceanography, initiated by Charles Heller, produced in the framework of the IRC-funded project Forensic Architecture, Goldsmith Center for Research Architecture. The IRC is a EU fund. New information of EU Commission funding to Watch the Med can be found here. EU planned mass immigration. The link to the EU funding may not be a coincidence. Peter Sutherland, UN boss for immigration, and former EU Commissioner, says that the EU should undermine national homogeneity. He has written, together with Cecilia Malmström, EU Commissioner, the policy for immigration within the EU, Europe's immigration challenge. In addition, the EU Customs Frontex itself has brochures for the smuggling mafia, with information about which European country have the best deals for immigrants. EU douaneheft brochures voor immigrati smokkel mafia. Further reading on the Delfina Foundation page we find, Forensic Oceanography critically investigates the militarist border regime in the Mediterranean Sea, in order to document the violence perpetrated against migrants at sea. So they view border controls as violence against migrants. The article continues with, by producing maps, visualizations, human rights reports, etc., and become a tool in the struggle for freedom of movement. So these people are in favor of freedom of movement without any controls and actively provide tools to achieve it. Lorenzo Pezzini has several research studies on migrants crossing the Mediterranean, for example, Forensic Oceanography Report. The information from these studies will likely be used for the manuals, because these people behind the sites that create the handbooks. The smuggling mafia might receive this information, for example from where the migrant boats should leave to get to the right area to reach Europe. So they use, apart from the manuals and welcome websites, in-depth studies to make it easy for migrants to come to Europe. And they use EU funds for their investigation. Further investigation revealed that more than 70 domains are hosted on the same server, 213.139.76.196. These lead to websites with similar issues about migrants, and many of them are interesting to investigate further. One such website is, for example, Border Monitoring EU, again linked to Bernd Kasparek. The Delfina Foundation is worth further study as well. It also raises the question of who is behind the server with the related websites.